Colleen, did you want to wait another 2 minutes and get started? Or you want to just jump in since this is a kind of conversational?
Yeah, yeah. Why don't we just wait maybe another minute or
Mhm.
so? But the people who have joined us,
Sure.
thank you so much for being here. And if you wouldn't mind just maybe putting, saying hello in the chat. Where are you from? What's the weather like? I am from the Chicagoland area, but I'm in the Boston area at the moment. And it's actually a beautiful day. It's about 50 and big puffy white clouds. It's beautiful. So where are you from?
Oh, I need to log out of my Teams or we'll see that all day.
Becky, you're in Illinois as well.
Yes, I am in central Illinois,
Mhm.
so about 3, 4 hours south of Chicago, depending on traffic.
Yeah.
Sometimes six,
Oh
depending on
gosh, yeah.
traffic.
It can be bad.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Cynthia, I'm very jealous of 77 degrees. 2 days ago, I was wearing sandals. Today, I wore my winter coat again.
Yeah.
That would be hello, spring, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then goodbye, spring.
Yeah, I just checked, we're at 72, but windy, but it's nice.
Yeah. Hey, we'll miss you. Catch the
Mhm.
recording. Cynthia. It's
Well, you're in Colorado.
But snow in 75, that doesn't make sense.
That's fine.
That's science.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I guess we should just go ahead and get started.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
welcome everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Talks, ITC's Tuesday Talks. Today we have Becky and Colleen, and we're going to be talking about some UDL, some ADA, and all the good stuff that make classes high quality and inclusive. Take it away.
Mhm. Absolutely. Hey, everybody. I am Colleen Sandquist. I am the partner manager at ReadSpeaker. And with me today is Becky Parton. And I will let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Becky Parton. I'm the Dean of Academic Innovation and E-Learning at Lincoln Land Community College, and that is in Springfield, Illinois, center of Illinois. Everyone always tends to think Chicago, but we are classified as a small rural community college, so that we see a lot of cornfields. So.
Absolutely. And we're just so delighted to be able to be here with you today and share what it looks like when we're scaling student success by using audio. What does that look like in a UDL environment? And Becky was gracious enough to join us. We're going to talk about how we can boost comprehension, increase that flexibility for learners who may be juggling some other opportunities in their lives, be it work or kids or caring for adult parents, and how we can really drive UDL principles through inclusive design and inclusive technology like ReadSpeaker. So anyway, we are delighted that you are here with us. For those of you who are not familiar with ReadSpeaker, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat to our education page. And here you can learn more about ReadSpeaker and any questions you may have. We invite you to join in the conversation. We have a very small group, so let's just make this interactive, exciting, and just see what we're struggling with, what we're doing well. If ReadSpeaker sounds like it might be a solution for you, the second link I'm dropping in here is the ability to learn more. It's a form you can fill out. We'll contact you. We'll have a conversation and see if it makes sense for potentially ReadSpeaker to be brought to your campus. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So Becky, let's start with Lincoln Land community. Paint the picture for us of what campus looks like, student demographics, things of that nature.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, we're classified as small rural. I think within the state of Illinois, we're more medium in comparison. We have a lot of small areas in the state of Illinois outside of Chicago. And we average around 10,000 enrollments a year, and our FTE is around 3,400. So we're not a big institution by any means, but we're also, as in regards to Illinois, we're not small. We cover all or part of 15 counties, and geographically, we're the largest community college in the state of Illinois. So, with that said, and when I said earlier, we see a lot of corn, we cover a lot of acreage that is not residential. We do have 5 satellite facilities. They're not registered as full campuses, but facilities they're all within 40 miles of the main campus. So the original plan was to have some footprint throughout our large district. But when we started building distance ed about 27 years ago, online has really taken off. So of those 10,000 and some enrollments we average a year, 47% are now online. We have 68% of our students take at least one online course a semester. So we have a really significant distance ed population within our student body. The majority of our students are part-time students. They tend to lean older. So the average age is 23, 24. So we do see what's classified non-traditional population, but they are often working caregivers and sometimes working multiple jobs while also trying to be students. So distance ed is really fit for them. So technology has been helpful. And even if they're taking all face-to-face courses, they're still not on campus because we are a commuter college. We do not have any residential facilities at our campuses.
Interesting. So you had mentioned a couple different types of learners, but typically the non-traditional learner. I was at a conference in New Jersey, February of 25, and the keynote speaker was talking about the new majority learner.
Yep.
And that speaks directly to the population of learners that attend colleges like yours. And they are all across the country and around the world. Some of the people that would fall into that new majority would be, as you mentioned, people caregiving, working a couple of jobs, back to school, moms and dads, parenting. So having the ability to engage in online learning is going to fit their profile or their lifestyle more conducively than, going to class in a brick and mortar building like some of our more traditional learners do. So I know that you are relatively new with ReadSpeaker. So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about what learning looked like at Lincoln Land before ReadSpeaker came on the scene.
Well, and as I mentioned, we had a lot of online, but all of our courses use our Canvas, that's our LMS. So we have a lot of technology-based course supplementation, if not fully online. We also have courses we call hybrid. Those are courses that have seat time and online time. So a lot of technology embedded into coursework, regardless of delivery method. But for those who needed any kind of audio support, whether it was test reads or any of that kind of stuff, those were only provided through accommodation agreements. So there had to be the whole process of needing accommodations. You have the letters, the paperwork, and that is what that was restricted to at the time. Students that might just have diverse learning needs or interest in flexibility, that was not available to them. They had to have a agreement with our accessibility services and accommodations. So learning support in that regard and an audio support was restricted to certain learners.
Mhm. And one of the things that we're seeing, there's a lot of interesting statistics out there that talk about the non-disclosure rates of
Yes,
students that are
yes,
coming from a K-12 environment, transitioning into higher ed. Even if they had an IEP or a 504 in high school, they are not carrying that forward.
right.
They're not raising their hand for whatever reason. There's a myriad of reasons. It's expensive if it's time to get a new eval. The stigma that's associated sometimes with learners that have to go to, disability services, and I'm using something that's different from my peers and things of that nature. And that's, when we think about the reactivity of a student who comes and says, okay, I need whatever it is, I need read aloud, I need extended time, whatever it is. If they have the documentation, we're helping that one particular student get what they need in order to succeed. But when we go through that one by one, we're looking at a very reactive approach. We know that it's very expensive, both time and resources for our people in the disability service offices, but also it is costly to our learners who need to wait. And I'm not even talking about like the money aspect of it. I'm really talking about how costly it is to them as a student if there is a time delay in getting what they need in order to access the content. So very,
Yes.
very important. And when we think about being proactive, taking that, that initiative to provide for learners, all learners, what does that look like? The ADA compliance was coming on Friday. Now, I'm sure we all know on the call that we have got another year, which I think is excellent because institutions and organizations need time. But students are feeling seen. We're seeing improved academic performance for all learners. And what does that look like from a college perspective or from an institutional perspective? We're looking at increased course retention, increased graduation rates, retention when it comes to getting through the 2 years or the 4 years onto the degree. And then, of course, from a reputation standpoint, you are being very proactive and giving learners what they need in order to succeed. And so I think that shifting from reactive to proactive is something that is very important. So we've talked a little bit about why this is necessary and why you made the decision to do that. But now tell me, like, how did you come to choose ReadSpeaker over some of the other instructional technology or assistive technology that's out on the market today?
Yeah, so our director of accessibility services actually sent me a link to ReadSpeaker and said, "Hey, have you heard about this? I think it could be helpful." At the time, they were just inundated with accommodations for test reads. I don't know if that's something that sounds familiar at anyone else's institution, but we do have a large number of students for various accommodations. We're seeing a lot more that are more of a neurodivergent need for support than an actual physical disability.
Mhm.
And they're a two-man operation. Again, that might also sound familiar for some of you, but they just couldn't keep up with it. Again, with a lot of online students and a very large district geographically, it was very hard to meet that demand. So we were looking for something that could help offload that, and ReadSpeaker is on demand, as you mentioned. And so students would be able to just have those tests read for themselves at a time that works best for them, as opposed to making an appointment, driving to campus, or finding someone to get on Teams or Zoom for them to help with their tests. So we looked at it. I chair a group, we call it the Technology Advisory Group. It consists of folks from my office, which is instructional design and academic technology. And then we have a faculty member from every academic department. And we review technologies and make recommendations to our vice president, who then gives us the money to buy it. And then we put it in and we run it out of our office. But we worked with folks in ReadSpeaker. We had our faculty demo it, see how they felt about it, and it gave them an opportunity to talk about it. And they started coming up with seeing it as a UDL solution as opposed to just the original interest, which was for accommodations. So they were excited at what the possibility might be for their students that either need the flexibility to listen to course content while they're driving or taking care of a loved one or whatever. Students that may prefer audio. We have, again, we have some areas that have students with a lower literacy rate. This helps them helps them to have that audio version. So we've had some English professors they teach co-rec, and so they were excited to see that their textbooks could be, their content within, they use OERs, can be used for audio with some of their students that are in the co-rec, the developmental side of their co-rec. So that group really spent a semester looking at the tool, thinking about it, and they put forth a recommendation. And we, as you said, we're new to it, so we launched it in January. So we are very new to ReadSpeaker, but we've seen positive responses already. But yeah, I always work through a primarily faculty group that they're elected by faculty senate. It's always, we find very quick buy-in from faculty, which is always important when you're implementing new technologies. So we went through our tech advisory group and we had folks from accessibility services talk to them, and we worked with ReadSpeaker. And so that was our how we decided to move forward with ReadSpeaker. Was we talked about it and we gave folks time for their own ownership into this larger project that was going to, be embedded in all their courses. And so I always like to work that way.
Mhm. And you mentioned that you were in the Canvas environment, the learning management system that you're using is
Yes,
Canvas. And so we do have a beautiful integration with Canvas. But
yes.
if you might not be on the Canvas platform, we also support Brightspace, Blackboard, Moodle. Those are the top players in the market. And so we have some nice integrations there as well. You had mentioned assessments.
Yeah.
So when we talk about supporting learners with assessments, we are also part of proctoring solutions. We're compatible with proctoring solutions. And was there anything more that you wanted to add about how you're supporting learners with assessments? And if not, then I'd like just to offer to the group to see if there's anything. Becky, is there anything more that
Yeah.
you'd like to talk about with assessments?
Yeah, we've heard feedback. We've The area I've heard the most feedback for, especially for assessments, has been in our nursing program or our CNA program. We have programs in a couple different local areas, and they've had students, some with test reads, and some just started using ReadSpeaker because they found it helpful for them. And they talked about the high stress environment of taking a test, especially an online exam, and how the students are reflecting that the audio makes them feel more confident with thinking through with their answers. So yes, they're looking at the test, they're reading the test, but having it read to them audio, the students are reacting well to that. It's also helping them comprehend those questions better. So they're seeing an improvement in their assessment results. And just in general, I would say the diverse learning needs of students, especially with that new student that we're seeing. I said non-traditional. I think that's an outdated term. I've been in the business for a long time. But we are seeing those from our health professions programs. Those are the faculty that I have spoke to already in this short period, and they have seen really positive feedback and have been implementing it with their core, or they don't have to implement anything. And I know we're going to talk about the implementation process, but they're pointing it out to their students very specifically. But yeah, it's right there, any page. They just click on that speaker and they know what to do with it. And so from an assessment perspective, we've had really positive feedback from several of our health professions programs.
I love that. And with the built-in dictionary, I would imagine that really comes in handy for some of those medical terms and, that very specific vocabulary. So one thing I do want to mention is that ReadSpeaker has recently been integrated inside Canvas new quizzes. And this is such an amazing opportunity for learners and also for our instructors. They don't have to think, should I use classics? Should I use new? Are the students going to get what they need? And so that is really, really very exciting. And we're very proud of that integration. So when we speak about assessments, I always feel it's really important to mention that because we are always getting feedback. We get feedback from, our customers for our, yes, Cheryl, it works for classic and new. Thank you so much for asking that question. Yes. And also feel free to come off mute, ask a question.
Oh, yeah.
Chime in with what's going on your campuses. Let's just offer a question to the group. How are you supporting assessments today? How is that working with your disability service offices? Are you feeling like students are being supported? Is there something that's working and you would love to share, or maybe a challenge that you're having, and maybe a colleague on the call here could, offer some support or a suggestion. So we just welcome you to join the conversation. Cheryl, you came off mute.
I did.
Thank you.
I was just going to say, I don't know exactly from our disability resources office. I work at Yavapai College in Arizona. We're a rural community college as well. 4 satellite campuses from the main. But we use Immersive Reader, which I don't love because it doesn't work in Canvas quizzes. And I don't know if we have similar statistics for people who have a read test allowed. Mostly we're getting, extra time on tests. But I love the idea that ReadSpeaker works in the quizzes, because I think that would be very helpful for our students, regardless of whether they're requesting a read aloud or not. But just as an FYI, that's where we are, and I don't know if we have the same type of stats regarding reading aloud requests.
Sure. And you do bring up a good point. Immersive Reader is available once it's implemented inside Canvas, but they're also very limited
Yeah.
the real estate that they can actually access and what it can do versus what ReadSpeaker can do. So thank you for bringing
Actually,
that
I
up.
would love to know, does ReadSpeaker read alternative text aloud?
That is a great question. And so, yes, it does.
I don't think Immersive Reader does.
When the alt
Not all
text
the time.
is built behind that image, ReadSpeaker
Hmm.
will see that and it will read it. Now, if there is no alt text behind the image, it will read the image description, which typically is under the image. So it will read both of those. And so we are really working very diligently to be able to support learners across the ecosystem of Canvas. And again, in those kind of assessment areas where others can't reach. Um, so thank you for sharing that. I do appreciate it. So just getting up and going with ReadSpeaker within the past couple of months. Tell us about how was that for your tech team? Did you, tell us the story.
Well, as I said, we implemented in January, and we're also implementing some other things at the same time. So, just in comparison, night and day. I won't name names, but it honestly has been one of the easiest implementations technology-wise that we've ever done. And as I said, I've been doing this a long time, so I've implemented a lot of things for my college. We plan to implement it, install, turn it on, get it ready to go. When we came back from our semester break, holiday break, I came in about 30 minutes after our director of academic tech, and I was walking through our office suite, and I said, "Hey, are we going to get ReadSpeaker going today? Start working on it today?" And he was like, "Did, done, it's ready to go." So I mean, it was honestly that simple. I logged into Canvas. There was the speaker in the lower left side of every Canvas page, and we were ready to go. It took me more time to make our tutorial for students and to write the email to inform all the faculty than it took him to get it ready to go. Just
Yeah.
very honestly.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, we did do a little customization, and you guys were able to work with us on that very easily. As I mentioned earlier, we had a faculty group that helps guide our technology decisions and implementation. We have a pretty strong world languages program, and they were worried about the translation. And I know you're going to talk a little bit about that because I don't have experience with that. So to not delay implementation, we decided to have you guys turn off the translation portion. Given where we're at in the country, we don't have a lot of ELL. We have some folks, but not a significant number. And we didn't want it to impact the language courses. There was concern from the faculty of being able to select what language they want the content read in when they want them to learn the content. So that is something they're going to continue to look at and think about, and we may turn it on eventually. But that was really the only thing that we had to have you guys help us with was to just toggle that off before we implemented.
Yeah. So you bring up a really good point. So we do provide the ability to customize the solution for your instance. So we have got a couple of clients and partners who prefer that the download to MP3 be removed
Mhm.
because of professors may think, not want their content brought out, available to be shared out in the world. So we can toggle that off. So whatever it is that you're looking for to customize, we can do that for you. Um, Jennifer, thanks for joining us. So also learners can customize their experience. So if I wake up in the morning and I have a migraine, but I'm looking for dark mode because, I have this headache, I can switch to the dark background with the blue writing. If I have impaired vision, I can enable the uh, enlarge text
Mhm.
at the bottom of the screen. We also have got supports for learners that are neurodivergent or prefer to have the dark mode, prefer to have the audio consumption. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, when we get into universal design. So, Becky, are you thinking along the lines of universal design? Are you embracing universal design at Lincoln Land? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, especially out of our office, it's been, as you mentioned earlier, our accessibility deadline has been pushed back.
Mhm.
There's That's been a priority in our office actually for about 10 years. We've focused on accessible course design. And so we've been talking about UDL for quite a while out of our space. A lot in online, but just in any online content. And so we do talk about UDL, what can we do for our students and not have to retrofit courses or content, just so that all students have equal access at the beginning and throughout a course. And so that really is a priority of how we design our digital content in our Canvas system. Yep.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's something we've been talking about for a while now.
Yeah, and accessibility has always been it's been a focal point for ReadSpeaker since the
Yes.
creation of the company about 28 years ago. And so we do our very best to think about all the different types of learners and what it is that they may need in order to engage in the content. And when we design with the learner variability in mind, as opposed to, as Becky said, retrofitting or
Hmm.
reactive actions for learners, we're really giving them a full experience. So what else can you tell us? Like, how are you doing that on your campus?
What we're trying to, even before ReadSpeaker came along, but kind of how we approach UDL here is we want to, again, design for that variability from the start. Assume students are going to engage in different ways,
Mhm.
as well as then flexibility from default. And that doesn't necessarily mean five different versions of the same content or something, that creates a tremendous amount of workload for our faculty. But let's just think about the kind of students you typically have in this kind of course and what might be options for them or how we might want to create flexibility, reducing friction, not creating barriers, things like that. Let's think ahead, as well as normalizing choice. That's been a big one that I've promoted throughout my career. Normalize choice in your assignments. Can the student, if your rubric is your rubric, right? Can the student not write a song as well as write a paper or make a poster presentation or a movie? And so we have folks who do that. We have students in humanities that they will compose a song in their online course as opposed to writing a paper. Now some want to write a paper. So something that I've really promoted over the years is normalizing choice, which then feeds into flexibility and meeting students where they learn better and where they're more likely to succeed, as well as then keeping it simple for faculty. What I've also found is that when you normalize choice, the faculty seem to enjoy those assignments again.
Mhm.
But the instructor that said, okay, so I told him, you propose to me how you want to meet this rubric assignment. And the student said, I'd like to write a song. And he did. He wrote and he recorded a song. And it really energized that instructor's thought on that assignment again, right? You know, you grade the same thing over and over and over again. And then you have a student that's really thinking out of the box and they like that activity again. So that's really where we've come at it. How can we make this choice for students? You know, it's kind of, you make it fun, but you sneak in a little UDL in the process and everybody's having a better time, right? So
Absolutely.
that's really kind of the overarching concept of UDL here.
Sure, sure. Anybody else from the room like to share what you are doing? Or if you're struggling with getting universal design off the ground, what does it look like from the very beginning? Any thoughts from the room? Are we embracing universal design? Okay, I know it's sometimes when we get started with universal design, it can feel like a lot. But as Becky said, it's just baking in that variability, offering options. Cheryl, yes, you are embracing UDL. Do you want
Yep.
to maybe come off mute and share what you're doing or how your faculty is, or how did you start the process?
I mean, so I work, I'm an instructional designer. I work in a department with, I don't know, 5 of us. Um, we, we probably got our best UDL start with OER courses.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
so we received a grant from the state of Arizona to create rural OER textbooks for rural colleges, and as part of that, we um, we partnered a faculty subject matter expert with a instructional designer and an OER librarian. They work in a team. They receive, the faculty receives a stipend, or the subject matter expert, they receive a stipend for completing the course design and build in Canvas, and incorporating, either creating OER text, modifying, or creating them. And as part of that, because there's an instructional designer as part of the team giving feedback all the way through, we've had opportunities to say, have you thought of whatever it is, trying this? Even down to, I've worked with a faculty member who required some lengthy research articles, but chose to go into our fast capture studio and read them out loud to record an MP3 to make an audio version of that available. And it was hugely popular with that person's students. And then that success and the feedback from students could be shared. So that was a kind of a good way in. We also, we give workshops on UDL. We have, trainings available to faculty for UDL. So I think but honestly, that stipend situation with, having a team and
Mhm.
having an OER librarian that we could say, hey, is there an audio research, our resource similar to this already? Or whatever it is that we're looking for. Could you see? And they, that the research is their job. They love to be asked these questions. So they're like, yes, I will check. And they come back with, all these OER open source resources that can be used. So really that has, I think, been our best path to develop an UDL mindset with our faculty.
Mhm. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. ReadSpeaker is great partners with the CAST organization, the founder
Yes.
of Universal Design. And so we are constantly talking with them and working with them. And our products are UDL certified products, which is very exciting and it just really speaks to the alignment of the mission. Like, you really can't have UDL unless we start with accessibility first. So the melding of these two organizations really is doing some, amazing things out there. We could talk a little bit more about the ReadSpeaker UDL alignment, but Becky, back to you. When we talk about ReadSpeaker supporting your universal design UDL initiatives at Lincoln Land. How does that, what are you seeing there with ReadSpeaker?
Yeah, so I'm going to look at my list here because I wrote these out because I wanted to
It's
make
quite
sure.
extensive. I love it.
Well, just the fact that it's immediately embedded in Canvas. I mean, it was like I said, we were ready to go in just a few minutes, and every page in every course has that ReadSpeaker icon down in the corner. And if you want audio, need or want audio, you just click it and it's there. There's options to just highlight the piece you want. You can make the font larger. It's very flexible for what someone may want to do. So it supports flexibility. Absolutely no login or setup process for the end user, faculty or students. It's there. It's available to all of our students, so definitely supporting UDL. As we talked about earlier, students who received that audio support had to go through, it can be a heavy lift on that accommodation process. There has to be documentation and all kinds of extra paperwork. As you said, some of them don't want to do it anymore. And we do find that. Yes, they had all the supports in the K-12 system, but then they want to feel different in college. They want to try that on their own. We've had folks who find it who have no accommodation needs. They just prefer to listen to that written out lecture as they're driving into campus or taking kids around town, whatever they need. And it normalizes the idea of access to this type of tool for all students. So that's been a big push for us. Our faculty are really happy with that. I've heard feedback from faculty about it's just there and students are using it, and there's not a stigma associated with it. Oh, I just listened to the lecture, as opposed to I have to get support for that. The thing I really like is it supports our personalized learning experiences. Again, everybody learns differently. We all need a little bit different support. And sometimes it just might be we're having a rough go right now. We've got a lot of stuff on our plate, and it's easier for a student to use audio at that point in time. So it really supports that personalized learning, what they need and what they need at the time, as well as then it fits a full range of students. As I was saying, they may need different things at different times in their time with us. As being primarily part-time students, some of our students stay with us for several years. We are a 2-year school, but that doesn't mean everybody's out in 2 years, right? So students have different needs at different times, and they've experienced our LMS in different formats. And we are definitely seeing a lot of positive feedback about this. I will tell you, they'll say the speaker that's been added to Canvas, and so we don't correct them. Brands don't matter to our students, but it's just embedded right there. And it just really is normalizing that it's just part of their learning.
Yeah, so you bring up so many good points. When we think about universal design for learning, you talked about all learners. It's universal access through the Canvas integration. It's just there. Anybody can use it whenever they want. So when we talk about different types of learners and learner needs, we may have documented learners with documented accommodations. We may have preference. I prefer audio. I personally, that multimodal experience, the hearing and the seeing at the same time, really, really impactful. The word by word highlighting, it just helps me. So that is my preference. But then we also have situational or occasional. I wake up with a migraine. Today, I want the text read to me and I want dark mode. Or, I have got something that has happened to me physically and I can't, participate. So really, whatever the need is, when we provide universal access to audio, we are going to hit all of those needs. So that is fantastic. One thing that you brought up earlier that I really want to scoot back to just a bit is, and when we talk about universal design for learning, we're talking about building agency for our
Yes.
learners, helping them understand. There you go. Exactly.
Right.
Baby is napping and I am doing chores. Yes, got to have the headphones in. Exactly. A perfect example. And so, building agency for learners is helping them develop that ownership of their learning journey. And when we give them choice, we are providing voice for them to be able to make that decision. And so one of the other things is that we had talked about it's a light lift for technology. There is immediate buy-in from faculty because it's just there. There are no logins, but sometimes tools require training. Our tool is very simple to use. It is very intuitive. We have help built right in our product. Again, building that autonomy and that agency. If I don't know how to use this particular piece, I know I can go to the tool, watch a short video or read a bit, and I will be able to then use the tool with proficiency. And I know that Becky at Lincoln Land,
Yeah.
you created something that was pretty cool for learners and really was, very little lift. And tell everybody what happened.
Yeah, so back to our implementation process, we spent most of our focus on just awareness and adoption. We didn't because the turning it on was so easy. I went ahead and I built, so this will also say how easy it was. I went ahead and built a tutorial directly in our Canvas. So I'm going to share that and show, I'll pop the link in also, but I'm going to share right now so folks can see what I'm talking about. There, we all able to see that?
Yep, we're
Okay.
good.
So this is our college's Canvas instance. And what we've done is everybody's got this little help button, right? So we built into, and you're going to see mine because I've got everybody's, I'm an admin, but we have built right in, let me make sure I'm finding it. ReadSpeaker tutorial. And students can just click on that, students or faculty, anyone. And we've just built out, this is what you're now looking at. We also put an announcement in our Canvas system for all users when we launched it. And we just want to explain what it is, give them a little walkthrough. And so they'll quickly understand what it is, what they can do with it. And ReadSpeaker already has a large number of short, you can see a minute, 18 seconds. I mean, these are meet the attention span of everybody now, right? So I went through and we looked at what we thought would be the most common uses to get started. And I just embedded those into a Canvas page. This is a single Canvas page. And we're taking notes and looking at our page statistics, and we'll be revisiting this at the end of our semester and flesh this out a little bit more if we feel like we need to. But it was just a quick, simple build. We've embedded it inside the help menu, inside of Canvas, and students can immediately get to that. And we also put up a announcement in Canvas, global announcement, letting everybody know that it was there. And if you're not familiar with it, when I said the little speaker is over in the left-hand, there it is. That's on every page, and you just click on that and it'll read, or you can highlight what you want. So yeah, we made this tutorial quick and easy. This was probably the longest task associated with implementation.
Yeah. And as Becky mentioned, that ReadSpeaker icon lives on the global nav bar. So wherever the learner is, that is there for them to activate.
Yep.
And it's extremely easy to use, and all of the accessibility is built right in there as well.
It will go ahead and put the link. It is a public page, so you should be able to look at it if anyone's interested. When we make those types of helps, we always make it a public page so folks can look at it. All students have no restrictions to looking at it.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Becky or for me? We are, getting close on time here, but wanted to open it
Oh
up.
yeah, absolutely. We'll build that into Commons. Nope, no worries. Thank you. I'll make a note.
Great idea. Great idea. As part of your parting gift, I am going to drop a link in here for you. And these are some resources that we have compiled for you to, to use, to learn from, to explore. And what you'll find here is a little bit about ReadSpeaker. We have our Universal Design for Learning, our UDL content here, digital, good quality digital course design information. And then down at the bottom, you'll notice Learn More and the Contact ReadSpeaker. Those are some hot links that you can contact us right from this page. And we encourage you to do so. If there is if you feel that there is a need for a conversation, just reach out. We are happy to have a conversation with you. And if there's anything that we can do to help or support, we are happy to do so. And last call for questions or comments.
I just wanted to say thanks for the lovely discussion. It was fun
Well, thank
hanging
you.
out and interacting with you all.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you. I'll get that in the Commons, and I'll grab your email, Cheryl, from Brooke, and I'll send you a direct link to it in or let you know when it's in the Commons and how to find it. So, oh, awesome. Okay.
I would first have to convince my institution to switch, so I don't need it immediately. I have done that, or I'm working with a different company, City Labs, to put you do it tutorial, like building a you do it tutorial for our faculty, and they were like, could we put it in the Commons, give you credit?
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. So that's not there yet, but that's why I thought of it.
That's
I might look
excellent.
for yours because we're using You Do It too.
And we partner with You Do It, with City Labs, rather. So, we just feel like building an inclusive, accessible ecosystem for learners is really going to help propel everyone forward. So,
yeah. And from our perspective, the accessibility project, obviously, with same as everybody, it's been a big focus this year. It's been a heavy lift for most of us. And this was a little bit of an icing on the cake for us when I sold it, I said, look, it's going to take it just one step further once we get this done, and it's going to support all of our students, regardless of legal requirements. And so that's been something we've really enjoyed about adding ReadSpeaker to our Canvas options for students.
yeah. And with the
That's a good idea.
absolutely. With the compliance coming now a year from now, it's important to be sure that your vendors are all meeting those requirements and have those, those WCAG certifications and things of that nature, which of course ReadSpeaker does, but a really important facet to, this new accessible world that we are building, but also so desperately needed so desperately
Yes.
needed for learners who, you know,
Mhm.
learn differently. And we don't leave our dyslexia behind. We bring it
Right.
with us. And so even when we get to the workplace, we're looking to build some accessible environments there for training courses, certifications, all the different things. So yeah, very, very good. Well, I appreciate you all. Cynthia, feel better?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cynthia's got a big event on Friday, don't you? Oh, wait, perfect segue. We have an
Yes.
event this Friday. Hey, everybody, you should definitely check out our AI Summit. And we do still have one last Tuesday talk for the semester. This one's going to be with one of our conference sponsors, Boodlebox. We're going to talk about some
Oop.
myths with AI, or kind of wait, hold on, let me see if I can get that in there. Yep, there we go. Um, demystifying AI. So what are people saying and how can we bust that myth? Um, so yeah, still got some stuff for ITC as we round down the spring semester for those of you who celebrate spring semester. I know we've got a lot of colleges that go year round and do 5, 10, 7. Oh my goodness, there are so many types of semesters these days.
There are.
Well, we appreciate you letting ReadSpeaker come and join the fun here today. Thank you
Definitely.
so
Thanks so
much,
much for
Becky, for
coming.
being here. Yes.
Oh, thanks.
And Brooke, thank you for
Thank you, everyone.
hosting and
Yes,
helping
thank you.
organized.
Okay,
All
take
right.
care,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Okay.
Class dismissed.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Did you two need to hang on and chat or what? Okay,
Nope, she's
Colleen's gone.
gone.
All right,
She's
we're
at
out of here.
another conference or something.
Oh,
So,
she,
yeah, she's in Boston doing something.
yeah, she said she, oh yeah, she said she was in Foxborough, which is just like I think an hour north. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all
Yep.
right.
All right. Good to
Well,
see
take
you.
care.
Bye.
And if I don't say happy retirement.
Oh, thank you.